We live in a world where we are told that convenience is the ultimate virtue. We trade our data for a faster checkout, our location for a better route, and our biometrics for a quicker unlock. But there's one specific moment in the modern urban experience where this trade-off feels less like a transaction and more like a shakedown. It happens when you pull into a spot. You see the sign. It doesn't have a coin slot. It has a QR code. And the text below it says, "Download our app to pay." You don't want to download the app. You just want to park. But if you don't, you get a ticket. So you download it. You grant it permission to access your location always. You enter your license plate number. You give it your credit card. And in that 30 seconds, you've just handed a corporation a map of your daily life, a record of your financial status, and a log of your movements, all for the privilege of leaving your car in a public space. This isn't just a payment method. This is the parking lot Panopticon, and today we're going to tear it apart. Welcome back to Impractical Privacy. I'm Sudo. Let's start with the premise that makes this whole system possible. The seductive, dangerous idea that you have a choice. In a healthy, functioning market, competition drives quality. If you don't like the privacy policy of App A, you switch to App B. If the fees are too high, you find a cheaper competitor. If the user interface is clunky, you find a sleeker alternative. That's capitalism. That's how we, as consumers, exert power. But the parking app market, it's not a free market. It's a series of walled gardens enforced by municipal contracts and backed by the threat of a tow truck. Let's look at how this actually happens. It starts in City Hall. A city council is looking at their parking infrastructure. They see aging, rusting meters that break down constantly. They see the cost of sending humans out to collect coins and enforce rules. And they see a shiny proposal from a tech vendor. We will replace all your meters with QR codes. We'll install the app, we'll handle the payments, and best of all, we'll give you a cut of the revenue. It sounds like a win-win. Cheaper for the city, convenient for the driver. But here's what that city council isn't telling you, and what the vendor's pitch deck hides in the footnotes. They aren't just buying a payment processor. They're outsourcing their enforcement mechanism to a private data broker. When a city signs a deal with a company like ParkMobile, Spot Hero, or Pay by Phone, they're effectively privatizing the public right-of-way, the sidewalk, the curb, the street. They are no longer just public spaces. They are now data collection zones managed by a private corporation. And here's the concerning reality that most commuters miss. In major U.S. cities, you literally cannot pay for street parking without a smartphone and a verified account. I've been to cities where the physical meters are completely gone, removed. In their place, there's a metal post with a QR code and a sign that says, "Download the app to pay." There is no coin slot. There's no phone number to call. There's no kiosk where you can swipe a card. The cash option has been erased. The phone call option has been deleted. The QR code is the only door. And this creates a situation of coerced consent. In legal terms, consent is supposed to be voluntary. You agree to something because you want to, or because you have a reasonable alternative. But when the alternative is get a ticket, get your car towed, or pay a fine that costs 3 times as much as the parking fee, is that really consent? Or is it a hostage situation? You can't opt out of using the app if the app is the only way to legally occupy a public space. The privacy policy you click I agree to isn't a negotiation. It's a toll booth. And the toll isn't money. It's your identity. Think about the power dynamic here for a second. You're a citizen. You're trying to use public infrastructure that you, as a taxpayer, helped fund. You're trying to park your car on a public street. The entity controlling the infrastructure, a private corporation contracted by the city, has decided that your access is conditional on your surrender of data. That is a fundamental shift in the relationship between the public and private sector. We're moving from a society where public spaces are open to everyone, regardless of their digital footprint, to a society where public spaces are gated by digital keys that track you. It's a subtle but profound change. In the past, if you walked down a street, you were anonymous. You could buy a newspaper with cash. You could park with a quarter. You could exist in public without leaving a digital trail. Now, to simply exist in public, to park your car, you must first prove your identity, link your financial data, and grant permission for your location to be monitored. And the worst part? Most people don't even realize they're doing it. They think they're just paying for parking. They think, oh, this is just the new way to do things. It's convenient. They don't realize they're signing a contract that says, I agree to be tracked, profiled, and sold. They don't realize that by downloading the app, they are participating in a system that turns their daily commute into a data product. This is the illusion of choice in its purest form. You think you have a choice because you can choose which app to download if your city has 2 vendors. But you don't have a choice about whether to download an app. You don't have a choice about whether to share your data. The choice has been removed. The only variable left is how much you're willing to surrender to get a spot. And that, my friends, is not a market. That's a surveillance state, parked right on your corner. Okay, let's get technical. Let's pop the hood and look at the engine. What exactly is this app harvesting the moment you tap pay? Most people assume the transaction is simple. They think the app just grabs name, credit card number, license plate. That's just the surface level. That's the tip of the iceberg. But the data architecture of these apps goes much deeper, and it's designed to be invasive by default. First is granular location data. This is the big one, the crown jewel of the harvest. When you open the app to start a session, it grabs your GPS coordinates. Fine, that makes sense. You need to tell the system where you parked. But does it stop there? Absolutely not. Many of these apps request, and often get granted, background location permissions. So ask yourself, why does a parking app need to know when you're at work, or at dinner, or at a protest, or visiting a doctor's office? It doesn't, unless it's not just a parking app. It's a tracking app disguised as a utility. Some of these companies use this continuous stream of data to build heat maps of your movement. They aren't just logging a parking spot. They're mapping your life. They know when you leave your house at 8:15 in the morning. They know you drive to the office. They know you park at 8:30 a.m. They know you leave at 5:45 p.m. They know you go to the gym, then the grocery store, then home. They know your routine. They know your habits. They know where you live, where you work, and where you worship. And here's the critical part. Because this data is tied to your credit card and your license plate, it's not anonymous. It's not a generic user 49283. It's Steve Smith, who drives a blue Honda Civic, lives at 123 Maple Street, and works at 456 Corporate Boulevard. It's a precise, time-stamped log of your entire life, sold to the highest bidder. 2 is device fingerprinting. Now, let's say you're smart. You deny the location permission. You think, ha, gotcha, no GPS for you. Sorry, you're still tracked. Enter device fingerprinting. Even if you don't grant location permissions, the app knows exactly what phone you have. It reads your device ID, your operating system version, your screen resolution, your battery level, your connected Wi-Fi networks, and even your installed apps. It combines these hundreds of data points to create a unique fingerprint of your device. This fingerprint is so unique that even if you delete the app, wipe your phone, and reinstall it, they can often recognize your device and link the new account to the old one. You can't hide. You can't reset. You are tagged. And this data is incredibly valuable to advertisers. They know your device type, which correlates to your income bracket. They know your OS version, which tells them how tech savvy you are. They know your battery health, which might tell them how long you've had the phone. It's a rich data set for profiling, all connected without ever having to grant a single permission. Number 3, the business purpose loophole. Let's look at the fine print, the privacy policies. I've read dozens of them. I've highlighted the sections, and they all have a section called data sharing with third parties. The language is almost always vague, deliberately vague. Something like, we may share your data with partners for marketing, analytics, and business purposes. Business purposes. That phrase is a black hole. It has no definition. It has no limits. It can mean selling your data to insurance companies. Imagine getting a call from your auto insurer. Hey, we noticed you park in a high crime area 3 nights a week. Your rates are going up. It can mean selling it to political campaigns. Target ads to people who park near the abortion clinic, or target voters who park near the Union Hall. It can mean selling it to data brokers who combine your parking data with your shopping history, your browsing history, your social media history, and your medical records to build a 360-degree profile of you. And the worst part, you didn't consent to that. You consented to parking. But the contract says business purposes, and that covers everything. You are the product. Your data is the inventory, and the business purpose is the sale. And number 4 is the license plate database. Finally, let's talk about the license plate. Your license plate is a unique identifier. It's a public tag, yes, but when an app links that plate to your credit card, your phone number, and your home address, that plate becomes a tracking beacon. And these companies don't just keep that data for themselves. Some of them sell access to their databases to law enforcement. In fact, there have been reports of police departments using parking app data to track suspects without a warrant. They don't need a subpoena. They don't need probable cause. They don't need a judge's signature. They just need a subscription to a parking app's data feed. Imagine being tracked by a private corporation, and that corporation is selling that tracking data to the government. That is the surveillance state in action. It's not a dystopian movie. It's happening in your local parking zone right now. You park your car, and you just gave the police a map of your life. So when you tap pay, you aren't just paying for a spot. You're paying for a GPS tracker. You're paying for a device fingerprint. You're paying for a data broker's profile. And you are paying for a warrantless surveillance tool. And the bill? It's your privacy. So we've established that these companies are hoarding massive amounts of sensitive data. We've looked under the hood at the GPS logs, the device fingerprints, and the license plate databases. Now let's talk about what happens when that data leaves their servers. Because, let's be honest, everything leaks eventually. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And in the world of parking apps, the win is usually sooner than you think. Let's look at the poster child for this disaster, ParkMobile. In 2021, one of the largest parking apps in the US suffered a massive data breach. Hackers didn't just knock on the front door. They walked right in. They gained access to a database of millions of users. What was stolen? Email addresses, phone numbers, license plate numbers, and in some cases, partial payment information. Now, a license plate number isn't a password. It's not a PIN. On its own, it's just a public identifier. You see it on every car on the road. But here's where the math changes. When you combine a license plate with an email address and a phone number, you don't just have a list of data points. You have a doxing kit. You have the keys to a digital identity. Thieves don't need to guess your password anymore. They have the context to make your life miserable. With this data, they can phish you with surgical precision. Imagine getting an email that says, "Hey Steve, we noticed your car was parked at the downtown mall on Tuesday night. We saw a suspicious person near your vehicle. Click here to verify with your insurance." This is not a generic spam blast. This is a targeted attack built on your parking history. They can harass you with robocalls. Your phone number is now linked to your vehicle. Suddenly you're getting calls about extended warranties for a car you don't own anymore, or scams targeting drivers in your specific zip code. They can sell your data on the dark web. Data is currency. Criminals buy these lists to build profiles for larger scams, identity theft rings, or even physical stalking. But ParkMobile isn't an outlier. It's the rule. The industry is rife with security vulnerabilities. Many of these apps are built by smaller vendors, startups that raised venture capital to build a quick and dirty app, not a fortress. They are often using outdated encryption. They're storing data in plain text, and they're failing to patch known vulnerabilities for months, sometimes years. And here's the kicker. Even if they don't get hacked, the data is still at risk. Remember the business purpose loophole we talked about earlier? That data is being shared with third parties. Every time they share your data, they create a new copy. Every new copy is a new potential point of failure. Think about the chain of custody. You trust the parking app? Maybe. But do you trust the data broker they sold your info to? Do you trust the marketing firm that bought the list? Do you trust the analytics company that's aggregating it? Do you trust the law enforcement agency that subscribed to the feed? The chain is broken. It's a game of telephone where every player is a potential leak. Once your data leaves the parking app, you lose control of it forever. It's like throwing a letter into a river and hoping it lands in a specific mailbox. You have no idea who picks it up along the way. This is the surveillance capitalism model in its purest, most cynical form. They give you a free or cheap service, parking. The price? Your data. And when that data gets stolen, you are the victim. You're the one getting phished. You're the one getting harassed. You are the one losing sleep. But the company? They just pay a fine. maybe a settlement, maybe a press release that says, we take security seriously, and they move on. They update their privacy policy, they patch the hole, and then they keep selling your data. It's a business model built on externalized risk. They keep the profit. You keep the liability. And the worst part is, they count on your apathy. They count on you thinking, oh, it's just a parking app. It's not like my bank got hacked. But in the surveillance economy, there is no such thing as just data. Your parking history is a map of your life. And when that map gets stolen, you're not just losing a few dollars. You're losing your anonymity. So the next time you tap pay, remember, you aren't just paying for a spot. You're betting that the company won't get hacked. You're betting that the data broker won't leak. You're betting that the chain of custody holds. And in this game, the house always wins. And you're just the data. Okay, I know you're listening to this and thinking, great, I'm doomed. My car is a tracking device. My city is complicit. The system is rigged. What can I possibly do? It's a valid feeling. The surveillance state is massive, and it feels like a tidal wave. But here's the truth. You're not powerless. Yes, the system is broken. Yes, it's invasive. But you are not a passive data point. You are a user with agency. And there are concrete, actionable steps you can take to minimize your exposure, break the data chain, and fight back against the surveillance. We're going to go from quick fixes to nuclear options. Strategy 1, the burner payment method. First, let's talk money. Never ever use your primary card for these apps. If you use your main card, you are linking your parking history directly to your primary financial identity. If that card gets breached, or if the app starts charging you for premium features you didn't ask for, you're stuck. Instead, use a card service. In the US, privacy.com is the gold standard. You generate a unique disposable card number specifically for the parking app. Set a spending limit, 50, 100, whatever your monthly parking budget is. If the app gets breached, delete the card. If they start charging you for things you didn't authorize, freeze the card. Your main account remains untouched. It's a small step, but it breaks the link between your parking data and your primary financial identity. It's a firewall, and firewalls are your best friend. Strategy number 2, permission lockdown. Next, let's go into your phone settings. Right now, find the parking app. Look at location permissions. Change it from always allow to while using the app or ask every time. On Android, look for background location and turn it to off. These apps do not need to know where you are when you're sleeping. They do not need to track your commute home. They only need to know where you are at the moment you are paying. And here's the trick. If the app crashes because you denied it background location, good. That's a feature, not a bug. It means they were trying to spy on you, and you stopped them. If the app refuses to work without always allow, then try not to use it. Find another app, find a physical meter, or turn it on, pay, and turn it off. Your privacy is worth more than the convenience of a crashing app. Strategy 3, the ghost account. Don't use your real email. Create a dedicated email address specifically for these kinds of services. Use a privacy-focused provider like ProtonMail. Use a pseudonym if the app allows for it. Some do, some don't. This creates a firewall. If that email gets leaked or sold, it doesn't lead back to your primary identity, your social media, your family. It leads to a dead end. It's like wearing a mask in a crowd. The camera sees someone, but they don't see you. Strategy 4, cash is king where possible. Check your city's website. Are there any zones that still accept cash? Are there any zones that allow you to pay via a text message without downloading an app? Sometimes the SMS option is less invasive than the app. It might just require you to enter a plate number and a phone number without the GPS tracking. If you can find a physical meter, use it, even if it's inconvenient, even if you have to walk an extra block, even if you have to carry quarters. Your privacy is worth the extra minute of walking to the meter. In a world of digital tracking, cash is the ultimate privacy tool. It leaves no digital trail. It's anonymous. It's yours. Strategy 5, the nuclear option. This is the most important one. You cannot fix this with settings alone. You have to fix it with policy. Call your city council. Email your mayor. Show up to the budget meeting. Tell them, I refuse to download a surveillance app to park on a public street. Restore cash options. Mandate privacy protections. And ban the sale of parking data to third parties. Cities are listening. In some places, like San Francisco and Seattle, privacy advocates have successfully pushed for ordinance that require parking apps to delete after a certain period and ban the sale of data for marketing. Your voice matters. The surveillance state relies on our silence. Don't be silent. Be the annoying citizen who shows up to the meetings. Be the one who asks the hard questions. Because the only way to change the system is to demand it. As we wrap up, I want to zoom out. What does this mean for the future of our cities? If we accept that public spaces are now data collection zones, we are fundamentally changing the nature of citizenship. A public space is supposed to be a place where you can move freely, anonymously, without being watched. It's where you can be a stranger. It's where you can be lost. It's where you can be human. When we turn every parking spot into a data point, we're creating a Panopticon. For those who haven't studied philosophy, the Panopticon is a prison design by Jeremy Bentham. The idea is simple. A central tower where a guard can see every cell, but the prisoners can't see the guard because the prisoners don't know when they are being watched. They behave as if they're always being watched. They self-censor. They conform. They stop doing things that might be flagged as suspicious. That is what's happening to us. We are modifying our behavior because we know we are being tracked. We avoid certain neighborhoods because we don't want to be logged. We change our routes to avoid high-risk zones. We self-censor our movements. We are becoming the guards of our own freedom. But there is hope. People are starting to wake up. People are realizing that free isn't free. People are realizing that convenience comes at a cost. And people are starting to demand better. The technology exists to build a privacy-respecting parking system. We can have digital payments without GPS tracking. We can have license plate recognition without linking it to a credit card. We can have public infrastructure that serves the public, not data brokers. We can have a city where you can park your car without signing away your soul. It just takes the will to demand it. So the next time you pull up a QR code, take a second, look at the sign, ask yourself, is this worth my privacy? And if the answer is no, do something about it. Use a burner card, revoke the permissions, call your city, and if you can, find a different spot. Because the most powerful privacy tool you have is the ability to say no. And in a world that demands your data, saying no is the most revolutionary act of all. And that's it for this episode of Impractical Privacy. If you found this useful, please share it with a friend who still parks in the city. If you have a story about a parking app nightmare or a victory where you fought back, send it to me. I read every email. You can find this show on all major podcast platforms. And you can join the community at impracticalprivacy.com/Patreon. Plus, if a single weekly episode isn't enough, Big Fan subscribers on Patreon get 2 bonus episodes a month. So head on over there and check it out. If you're not already listening on impracticalprivacy.com, I suggest it. Podcast apps are awesome for mobile, but the site is ad and tracker free. Plus, it's got other options for connecting with me and supporting the show. Until next time, keep your data close and your permissions tighter. Stay private, stay skeptical, and remember, the street belongs to us, not the algorithm. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you next week.